Hey everyone, Richard Metal Fan here, continuing the Dark Funeral discography review, and today we're going to be talking about Attera, Totus, Sanctus, the band's fourth full-length album released on October 24th, 2005, well in Europe, but then released a month later through Candlelight Records. The album's title is actually Latin for Destroy All the Holy, and from what I've heard, it's chosen sort of like to convey the band's vehement sort of like against like the right-hand stance. And also with this album, they also had yet another lineup change. On this album, Emperor Magnus Caligula, I can never say his fucking name. Who's the vocalist and also doubled as the band's bassist, he stopped playing bass with the band, but so he could just concentrate on vocals. So doing guest bass on this album is Gustav Hell. I'm just going to call him Gustav. I'm not going to bother butchering his last name. So he pretty much handled the bass tracks on this album. I think this is around the time when I guess Dark Funeral now decided to just become a 5-piece. And this also has some two new members in the band. We got Chuck Mole handling guitar duties along with Lord Armon, and Chuck Mole is pretty much still in the band to this day. And handling drums is Mate Modin, and he does a really great job on the drums. And with this album, compared to Diabolus Interium, I think it's definitely a step up a little bit. Production-wise, it's pretty spot on. Emperor's vocals sound fucking sick. The guitar work from Aramon and Shaq Mole are great. The bass I kind of wish was a little audible, and the drums are solid. So without further ado, let's dive into this album track by track. Now, starting things off is King Antichrist. Now, I think it's a very good song to be an intro. It just starts with just a guitar, then eventually the drums come in with just at a fast speed. And this makes me wonder were Dark Funeral using like a drumming machine or not. I feel like the drums just seem really fast and very flawless. It's like not even human at all. But this song isn't really that good of a song. I feel like it's just pretty much a song that, in my opinion, sort of like sets the mood for the rest of the album. And then we get to the next song, which is called 666 Voices Inside. Now, this, in my opinion, is probably my favorite song on this album. It pretty much picks up where the last song leaves off. And then Emperor's voice just really fits really well in here. Next up is the title track, Attera Totus Sanctus. Now, it starts off very slow, and then kind of similar to King Antichrist, it just goes absolutely apeshit. And the guitars are pretty much doing the same thing with some key changes and throughout the whole song, but it doesn't really add to like the whole appeal to it, especially when Emperor sort of screaming Attera Totus Sanctus. But again, another great performance from Mate, and I think, in my opinion, this song is probably the fastest on here. Then we move on to the next song on the album, which is called God Hate. Now, this, in my opinion, is one of those songs where Emperor's voice kind of sounds a little weird. And during the chorus, he's screaming, guilty, guilty. And I feel like if the vocals are a lot different, I would say it's one of the best on this album. Although I feel like instrumentally, the rest of the band gives like a great performance on this song. Next song on the album is called Attera Regina. Now, this is probably the slowest song on here, although this is pretty much one of my least favorites on here. It's pretty much drags on, which, I don't know, it just goes on for like 5.5 minutes, but I just think, not a song I would just go back to. Then we get to Angel Flesh Impaled. Now, this is another good one on this album, and the lyrics are probably my favorite of this album, especially with like Angel Flesh Impaled. It's so beautiful, feathers falling down over the bloodstained ground. And I feel like the lyrics, it's kind of a song that isn't like crucial to the album, but there's just nothing other than the lyrics that just make it just white noise, in my opinion. Next up, we get to Feed on the Mortals, which kind of similar to the God Hate. I feel like it's one of my least favorite songs on the album. One of those songs that I just can't listen to throughout. I feel like it's just boring and all together. But then I think it really redeems itself with the last song on the album called Final Ritual, which I think is a perfect ending to this album. It again starts off with just a very slow guitar riff, and then it just bursts into like a great force, and it just goes crazy for the next 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden it just stops, giving it, in my opinion, a really great way to end this album. Now, overall, Attera Totus Sanctus by Dark Funeral is a pretty solid album. I dig it. So I'd give this album a score. I'm going to give this album a solid 8.5 out of 10. So, yeah, that's my review of this album, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about it, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal.